CBS was predicting the first loss for all 18 Big Ten teams, like when their first loss will come. And so I immediately just scrolled down to Ohio State because I just want to know if they had them beating Texas.
Yeah, when's the next one coming?
Then you could make the case that the next one that even would be in play would be Illinois, like even in play. And I don't even know if I want to get it there. And then you got to go to Madison, which you should win that, but and then Penn State. So I immediately, I would say that if they haven't beaten Texas, I mean, then Penn State's at home. I mean, when would you, because you could almost say, well, maybe I don't have them losing.
Running the darn
maybe
table.
There are Buckeye fans out there that say, well, maybe their first loss is next year. Not this year.
The Illinois hype it's been the offseason of hyping up Illinois. The Illinois, I swear, plays Indiana the week before they play Ohio State. Or am I making that up?
Wait, say that again?
Illinois plays Indiana a couple weeks before they play Ohio State?
At Indiana.
So that's 2 weeks before they welcome in the old Scarlet and Gray.
3 weeks.
Okay.
They get USC, they get Purdue, then Ohio State. Now, let me before we get to Howard real quick, I'll take the mystery out of it. CBS predicts that Ohio State's first loss will be against Texas. And I'm not here to tell you that I would be that shocked. I don't think anybody, I mean, that's a good team. You do get them at home. You'll have the natty, you'll have the crowd, the whole thing will be there. Longhorns will be thinking revenge, but they don't have the same quarterback either because Quinn was obviously playing that game.
Lost a ton, too.
Yeah, and they did, too. So that's why this is just a heavyweight battle right out of the gate. He's the man with the Big Ten Network, and he's our friend. He's Howard Griffith. Good to have you, my man.
How you guys doing today?
Outstanding. Where are you on we talked about Jeremiah Smith earlier today.
Mm-hmm.
What's more likely, Howard? That teams do everything they can to take him away the best they can, or that Ohio State, with a first-year starting quarterback, force feeds him as much as possible?
That's an interesting one. I think they're going to go into the game knowing that Jeremiah Smith's got to touch the ball X amount of times.
Okay.
Right? They have to figure that out. I mean, because they have to give him the football. And we know that even if you force it to him, he comes up with the play for you. So a lot of the time, and if I think teams are going to try to take him away, which at times they're going to try to do, that's really going to, I think, open up the run game and also open up some of the other weapons like Cardell Tate that'll have an opportunity, who I think should have a huge season this year.
Howard, who do you think will have the best run game, rushing attack this year? Which program, when you look at either the back or backs that they have, which squad do you look at and say that running back room is going to be making a lot of noise this year?
I think it's easy to maybe pick Penn State, and if you take them out of it, I really like Washington and Van Coleman. I know a lot of people won't talk about, but this Jonah Coleman is unbelievable, and now with the addition to a more athletic quarterback for that offense, I think he's going to have even bigger opportunities coming this season.
Where are they going at quarterback out there right now in Washington?
I think it's still going to be up in the air. I think they're trying to still figure that out, at least publicly. That's what they're going to say. But I believe the young fella that they had an opportunity to play a little bit last year will definitely be the guy who's going to get most of the reps for them. And I think having him under center will give them an opportunity, Williams Jr. And I think that's where they need to go. You talk about athletic quarterback. This really, to me, will open up that run game. He showed some things toward the end of the season that just gave you a sense that this is going to be an offense with Jeffish calling it. They're still going to be able to make a lot of plays.
Where are you with Wisconsin? They and years ago, they were always a tough out. You never really truly thought you'd roll them. Like, they played maybe an ugly brand of football, but it was physical. They always have the home field advantage to some degree with jump around, and so their fans are always there. But this start for them, at Bama in week 3, at Michigan in week 5, or home against Ohio State week 7, then they go to Oregon, they go to Indiana this year. Like, I feel like they're kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. That's a brutal stretch. Do they have any magic at all in them? Will we be talking about them in October?
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations, and every now and then that comes up when you talk about teams. They could be better, but the record won't show it. Probably won't dictate that. And Wisconsin finds themselves in that type of position. They've got to find out what their identity is going to be moving forward. And I think they, obviously made some changes there. Having Billy Edwards is going to be, I think, a nice stopgap for them of a quarterback that can make plays with his legs, but also can bring a lot of leadership to the program. But they have to establish their identity. I think they got away from it. And that happens, man. You bring in a new coach, and one of the things that Coach Gennaro and I have talked about for years, just how difficult it is for a new head coach to make coaching decisions or making coaching changes at a coordinator spot in the second season. But they had to do that. Luke had to make that happen, and they got to find their identity and who they are. They've gotten bigger and more physical at least they should be more physical on the defensive side of the line, because this is a team that, as you mentioned, gave up way too many yards on defense in the run game. But this is a team that hasn't had that identity of who they have been historically.
So there's a lot of hype out there, as you know, when it comes to Penn State. Howard, one question that I have on the offensive side of the ball for them is the pass catchers and how much noise those guys will make. We know Singleton now, and those guys are baller, and Drew Allar took a leap last year. But they brought in a lot of transfers, as you know, via the portal. Yeah. When you look at that wide receiver room and just that pass-catching unit now, minus Tyler Warren, do you think they have the dudes there to really have Penn State's offense as a national championship type of unit?
I think it still remains to be seen. They have to go out and get that done. I think as we've watched Drew grow as a passer, his accuracy gets better each and every year. We're going to have to see that from the wide receiver position, because that's a position that struggled. I mean, quite frankly, this isn't the first time we've been talking about what Penn State was going to be able to do at the wide receiver, how that room would help them. But as you mentioned, the transfer portal has helped them, but you still don't know how they're going to acclimate. What's going to happen there? So numbers-wise, it looks like on paper that they have improved that room, no doubt about that, but we still need to see them play. This is a really talented team in Penn State, and you also have to see how are they going to handle all the hype that's surrounding them, because this probably in the first, this is going to be my 19th year covering the conference. This is really going to be the first year where, people are saying, hey, they're sticking their flag and saying Penn State is a team, and anything short of winning a national championship will be a failure. Now, I'll say this. They've taken a page out of Michigan and Ohio State, which they have a veteran team of talented players, and let's see if that's able to play out for them this year. But you got to play the games. You got to still play them and impress everybody and put those W's in the right column.
Do you trust, as we talk with Howard Griffith, Big Ten running back legend here on Rothman Ice, Drew Allar, the ceiling that he needs to get to this year for them to try to win it all, the hype around your guy, Luke Altmaier at Illinois, Bryce Underwood? I've heard a lot about Felix Mendoza transferring into Indiana, what they can do with him and their offense. Which storyline is most appealing to you this year?
Well, quietly, and I'm rooting behind the scenes, but Luke Altmaier really stepping up and making things happen in Illinois. But I'd say this is probably the first time in a long time that we've had so many veteran quarterbacks that, people have high hopes for. It's been a long time. And I know the Ohio State quarterback situation, I think, is going to play itself out, and they're going to, eventually end up with the right guy that they need. But this is, as far as the conference is concerned, this is going to be an exciting year, I think, at the quarterback, and probably one of the most talented classes that we've had, kind of top to bottom, of teams that are going to be able to take that next step. Look, Underwood is everything that he's advertised to be, but at the end of the day, he's still a freshman, and they're going to have to go through some of those freshman growing pains. But he's such a talent that I really believe he's going to elevate another one of those receiver rooms that people have had a lot to say about. Hasn't been as good as they needed, but I think having a guy like Underwood under center should be able to help them out.
You know, Howard, you touched on the veterans that we have at the quarterback position. I was listening to an NBA GM speak a few weeks ago, and he just talked about how NIL is helping both college basketball, the product, and the NFL, where these guys stick around for a little bit longer, then they go to the pros and they're ready. And the other side is that we get to watch better basketball. Are you seeing that on the college football side of things, that because of NIL and the opportunities that are out there, these guys are sticking around, that there's better ball being played right now?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, wait, listen, we only need to look at what Ohio State was able to do. Obviously, winning their national championship and Michigan, what a veteran team has. But when you as a player know that you can be I'm not saying a top 5 pick and you want to come back, but, you're a first-round draft pick and you want to continue to improve your stock, there's enough NIL money in a lot of these programs, in the top programs, where they are able to make that decision and be comfortable with it. So I think it has changed the way that, we're viewing college athletics right now. But I would also say this, and I think one of the comments that came out of media day was Mike Lockley talking about him losing the locker room from the standpoint that NIL was a big reason that they had some of the issues that they had, because people weren't mature enough and didn't handle things the way they needed to. So it's two sides to the NIL story, and whether or not it's gotten better. And for some locker rooms, when it's not taken and really controlled up front, and people have some of those hard conversations about this is what you're going to get paid and this is what you're going to get, and you're not a starter. When you become better, you can make more money. So until they start to, and most teams they're having those tough conversations. But that overall, to your question, I think it's absolutely made college athletics so much better.
Illini legend, Big Ten Network, 2-time Super Bowl champ, our friend Howard Griffith. I'll be here before we know it, bud. Thanks so much for your insight. We'll talk soon.
All right, guys. Enjoy the week.
Yep, well done. Howard Griffith on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. When we come back.